This weekend post, giving presets a little bit of love. Hi everyone, I'm Scott Davenport. Welcome to InPost. Thanks for joining me today. Today I'm talking about presets. I was listening to one of several photo podcasts that I like to tune into, and the topic of presets was getting kicked around, and there was a discussion around how some photographers look down on presets. Oh, that's not good. You can't use them. You're not a real photographer if you do that kind of stuff. And that didn't really sit right with me. I didn't buy that argument. I think presets are used. They are used by pros, but like everything in photography, they have their place. And so I thought I would show some preset love today and some ways that I use presets in my workflow. So I took these photos while I was out doing the ball head test, doing panos of downtown, because there was these really cool sailboats moving around the harbor. And so I've just done some basic processing on this. And here's the before, and here's the after. So, richer colors, a little bit of a darker tone to it. And why am I talking about presets with this photo? Well, I have several of them that are like this, right? I've got several shots of the same scene. And this is a scenario where presets make sense. Now, if you are doing senior portraits or weddings or so forth, you already know this. You've got a series of photos that are similar in nature. And so a preset is a great way to get a jump start on the look that you want for your photo. So went ahead and created a preset. Now this is gonna be a little bit unrehearsed. I haven't done this, I did like a dry run on this, but this is how we do things. This is how the presets are gonna work. So I took this thing, created a preset for it, and just saved it off as, sailboats. And this technique, the preset thing, whatever software you're using, it doesn't really matter. I'm using Lightroom. You can be using ON1. You can be using other software. As long as you can do presets. So I'm going to go over to this next photo. This one, let's do this one here with the yellow boat toward the front. And I'm going to do nothing more than pop over here and choose the preset and let it apply. All right, cool. So world's better. So a couple of things that happened here, right? Obviously, we got a new look on our photo. I may not want the exact same look for it. I may go and tweak things and change it. And since I built this preset, I know what things have been modified in the preset. I know how I accomplished the look. And in particular, one thing I used was some radio filters for the background as well as the sailboats. So I go pop in here, I'll find where my pin is, there it is, and I'll just hover over that for a moment so we can see. This was something I was trying to use to target the land. And I'm using, what do we got going on here? We got color range mask, and a few settings here. The settings are fine, but the very first thing I want to do is move this up so it's covering the land. I obviously was shooting handheld, so things were changing. The other horizon line was a little different. And then it also looks like I need to do some work on the color range itself. So let's just try increasing that a little bit. And now I'm starting to get more of that background of the land covered there. Great, awesome. I'll turn off the mask. And that's just one of several adjustments and tweaks that I can make to my preset. But this is way faster than starting all over again and saying, all right, what's my basic settings? What do my white balance need to be? And so on and so forth. And of course, you can blast this across a full set of photos when you're working, with presets. But it's the preset is a way to jumpstart your workflow. I want to show you one other scenario that I use presets, and I'll call these like finishers. I like split tones, and I like to do sometimes a split tone at the end of a particular editing session. So I've got a set of split tone settings. Let me open up the navigator so we can actually see as I hover over them. You'll see the navigator change to different looks. And I like cocoa and cream one, it look kind of cool. So I'm just going to tap that. And all this preset is doing is adding that singular split tone adjustment. So everything else that I've done with the photo does not change. I'm just adding in the split toning option here. So I turn that off. That is the photo that I applied that sailboats preset. And then after, it's just a finishing touch, changing the mood of the photo with a split tone. So, tip of the week, presets are for everybody. They're for pros, they're for starting out. They're great when you start out with photography. Apply a preset, and to me, when I first started, it was magic. I'd hit one button and the photo looks so different. Then dig into the various panels, sliders, masks. Figure out what's going on. How are these looks getting achieved? And that will really open up your own creativity to either create your own presets or do your styling of your photos on a case-by-case basis by hand. Admittedly, that's how I mostly work. I don't usually use presets because I'm taking a few photos of a reasonably dynamic scene like the ocean, or a certain landscape, and then I'm moving on to another subject, and I'm usually only processing one, maybe two of that particular set. But there are cases where I do use presets, like this case with the sailboats is a perfect example. So don't frown upon presets. They're useful, they're good, they have their place like most, if not all, things in photography. And that's going to do it for this In Post. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, let me know somehow. Comments on the video below. You got to keep it private. Reach out to me through my website. And I usually return a response around in a day or two. So you won't have to wait around for another video to get an answer to your question or some exchange on thoughts about photography. Until next time, my name is Scott Davenport, and happy shooting.